Hello children, today we will learn about the underprivileged section of the society. By God's grace, we are lucky enough to have everything that we want. But there are so many people in India who live in poverty. They do not have proper food to eat, proper living conditions and decent jobs.
You already know that the bulk of India's population is engaged in farming, and the success of the crops depends on a lot of things including monsoon. Sometimes when monsoon fails or there are heavy rains, it is the farmers that suffer the most. They live a life of uncertainty and poverty.
People who follow other occupations in a village also do not get enough to support their families. Their incomes are low, so they are not able to provide enough money and food to their family members, and they are also not able to send their children to good schools.
Yet others are engaged in work that requires heavy manual labor but get paid very less. They do not have money to buy good nutritious food for themselves and thus suffer from malnutrition and various other health problems. India at present has a greater share of poor people across the world. 30 years ago, India was home of 1/5 of world's poor, but now it is a home of 1/3 of poor people. This means we now have more poor in India as compared to 30 years back.
Dear children, since the poor people cannot afford to buy proper meals for themselves, they live in a state of chronic hunger. The condition of these people may not be as bad as those beggars that you see on the streets, but the fact is they are also in need of good food and nutrition.
All of you know that we need energy to do work and live an active life. This energy is measured in a unit called kilocalories. The National Calorie Standard was established as 2,400 and 2,100 kilocalorie per day for rural and urban areas. On an average, a person requires 2,100 kilocalorie per day as energy requirements, but the calorie standard of the rural area is fixed at more because the people in the villages have to do a lot of hard work, whereas in the urban areas we have so many people to help us. We have drivers to drive us to the schools and markets. We have maids at home to do cooking and other servants to help us in other household chores. The people in villages are hardly able to get their complete nutritional requirements because of the poverty. They do not have enough money to buy healthy food for themselves, and due to this, they suffer from a lot of deficiency diseases and their immunity system is also very weak.
According to the Global Hunger Index Report 2012 by the International Food Research Institute, India ranks 65 in Global Hunger Index. Though there is no shortage of food production in India, our nation still has the highest percentage of underweight children under 5. Children, we just discussed about the National Calorie Standard. How many calories are needed by rural people and how many calories are needed by the urban people? But do you know what is the situation on ground?
The calorie intake of the rural people is much less than what it should be, while the calorie intake of the people who live in the urban areas is much more than what it should be. In the urban areas, as the income goes up, the calorie intake also shoots high. The reason is simple. You have access to all the types of food, healthy as well as unhealthy or junk food. The manual work done is very little while the food eaten is more than required. In the rural areas, because of low income, the people never get to fulfill their complete nutritional requirements.
Before we move further, let us understand what is BMI.
The BMI is the body mass index measurement, but simply is the calculation of someone's body weight in relation to their height. Your weight and height details are used to calculate your current BMI measurement. This method is used to discover a person's ideal weight according to his height. And as you would have rightly guessed, the poor people never have the ideal weight because of lack of nutrition. And as you would have rightly guessed, the poor people never have the ideal weight because of lack of nutrition.
Children, the most important reason behind poverty is the lack of regular employment. Those who are farmers have to wait for the seasonal crops. Those who work as laborers on daily wages are never sure of their employment status. Today, they may have work and nothing for months altogether. Children, you know that most of the population in India is engaged in agriculture.
Indian agriculture is still carried on with primitive methods due to the absence of modern machines, tools, implements, improved seeds, manures, inadequate irrigation facilities, constant fragmentation of land and exploitation by the landlords, etc. The farmers are not able to get sufficient agricultural produce. Besides this, the farmers are also not able to get the right price for agricultural products. This increases the poverty among the rural farmers. Also, most of the regions in the country are either flood-prone or suffer from drought-like conditions.
These conditions reduce the agricultural produce to a great extent, on which the household income of these people depends. And when the people engaged in the major occupation of the country do not get sufficient money, their buying power decreases, and all the other people engaged in all the other occupations also suffer. Children, in Andhra Pradesh also, most of the people are engaged in agriculture, but this is a seasonal employment.
The number of days of agricultural workers, laborers can manage to get in a normal year varies from 120 to 180 days. The rest of the period, they either have very little or no work. If God forbid, there is a natural calamity like drought or flood, their crops are destroyed and they are rendered jobless for months. If they had taken loans for buying high-quality seeds, agricultural equipments or machines, they come under heavy debts. They are not able to repay the loans and suffer from extreme financial crisis. The right to work in the Indian Constitution clearly states that everyone should be given the opportunity to work to earn a basic living. If people are denied their right to work, they resort to criminal activities or develop bad habits like drugs and alcoholism. After years of struggle by people's groups, the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act of 2005 was passed. Under MNREGA, a household is entitled to 100 days of work in a financial year. This entitlement of 100 days can be shared within the household. It means more than one person in the household can be employed simultaneously or at different times.
The application for registration under MNREGA has to be made to the Gram Panchayat. If the job seeker does not get employment within 15 days of submitting the application or from the date when work is sought, government pays a daily unemployment allowance to the candidate.
Work is provided within 5 kilometers of applicant's residence, or else the payment is raised a bit to meet the travel expenditure. Work site facilities include safe drinking water, shade for children, medical treatment of and other health hazards connected with work. The kind of work given may be of the following nature: water conservation and water harvesting, tree plantation, construction of irrigation canals including micro and minor irrigation works, renovation of traditional water bodies, land development, flood control and protection works.
A social audit is a way of measuring, understanding, reporting, and ultimately improving an organization's social and ethical performance. Understand it as the report card of a particular program started by the government. In this, the following things are looked into: honest disbursement of payments due to the workers, performance of the field officers, quality of the work, the output.
It is the duty of our government to ensure that everyone in the country gets adequate food. The public distribution system is a system of management of scarcity and for distribution of food grains at affordable prices. Major commodities distributed include staple food grains such as wheat, rice, sugar, and kerosene through public distribution shops, also known as ration shops, established in several states across the country. PDS shops are also known as fair price shops as they provide food grains at a subsidized price to the poor and needy. As of date, there are about 5 lakh fair price shops across India. Food Corporation of India supervises the public distribution system. Under PDS scheme, each family below the poverty line is eligible for 35 kilograms of rice or wheat every month, while a household above the poverty line is entitled to 15 kilograms of food grain on a monthly basis. At present, 29.8% of the Indian population lives below the poverty line. In the category of poor falls the people whose daily income is less than 28.65 rupees a day in cities and 22.42 rupees a day in villages.
But do you think this amount is enough to survive even for a day in the country where the prices of food items are touching the sky? This means the actual number of people living below the poverty line is much higher, as according to the statistical data. A person earning 30 rupees is not considered as poor, but faces the same difficulties in life as the people below the poverty line do. A large number of people who earlier benefited from the PDS do not get benefited from it anymore, the moment their income level just increases a bit. There are other problems also connected with the PDS. Such situations have also motivated the people to take a legal action against the government's way of functioning. They say that the government has violated the right to life. Each family should be entitled to get food grains at a fair price. What do you think? I think they are right. Every family in India should have the access to food, shelter, and proper job opportunities. Then only we will truly progress as a country. Alright children, I hope you enjoyed today's class on understanding poverty. Let's meet again soon. Thank you.